What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, make sure you guys subscribe, and if you guys are not new, hello, happy Friday. So you guys saw the title today. I decided that I'm going to film this podcast style. Why? Because I've been interested in podcasts lately. I've really been binging The Basement Yard. It's men who just talk about dirty shit. So we're gonna try out podcasts because I've always been interested in them. I've never actually really listened to them myself, and then I started listening to them and I was like, maybe I should try this out, give it a try, see how it goes, do a little podcast experiment. So that's what we're here for today. I hope you guys like this background. Look at my new desktop. Anyway, okay, you guys saw the title. So what we're doing today is we're going to talk about my birth control experience, because as a woman, I knew absolutely nothing going into birth control when I went on it, and everything I've learned on my own. What they teach you in school is not very helpful. So we're going to talk about my experience, everything I've gone through. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to get into some details. And we're going to vibe. That's what we're going to do. This chair is very squeaky, so I'm sorry. So if I'm bleeding and this be making noises, you're going to have to deal with it today. But make sure you guys subscribe and then click the bell so you're notified every time I upload. Okay, let's do this. Alright. So, birth control. As a woman with vagina, I am on birth control. Okay, I wrote some notes here. So if I'm staring at my phone, that is why. But I needed to figure out the timeline of my birth control experiments, which birth control I was on and stuff, and that took a while because I've been on it for a very long time. So, if you guys didn't know, I'm 25 years old. I have been on birth control since I was in 10th grade. So that would be 2013. It is 2023, so it's been 10 years. I got my period in 9th grade. I think it was almost the end of 9th grade. And the reason I went on it in the first place is because my cramps were so bad every single month that I literally couldn't move. I'd end up passing out. They were bad. If you guys have cramps, you guys know what I'm talking about. They're just unbearable. So my mom got me on birth control so I didn't have to deal with it. And it did help. I will say that. On birth control, I got, hold on, which one? Okay, so in 10th grade, 2013, okay, I got the Depo. The Depo is the shot that goes in your arm. You get it every single 3 months. I got it through Planned Parenthood. I still get it through Planned Parenthood. That has not changed. The symptoms that I personally get from the Depo, and this changes based off the person that takes it. Everyone gets different symptoms. My symptoms specifically, though, I gained weight. I know that for a fact. I don't get my period when I'm on the Depo at all. Don't get it. I don't get cramps anymore because, again, I don't get my period, and that's what was causing my cramps. I definitely think it gives me some mood swings and some depression, but I don't think it's an obnoxious amount. And then, there was one. I'm missing one. Oh, my acne. My acne got worse when I went on it in high school, so I don't know if that was from the Depo and I just kind of grew out of that symptom, or if that was from hormones because I was getting older and I was going through puberty. But I will say that my acne did get worse when I went on the Depo in 10th grade. Okay, we're going to get this, I'm trying to get this timeline going a little bit, but I'll try to explain partly through it too. Okay, so got on the Depo, right? 2013, shot every 3 months in the arm. 2019, so 6 years later, I got off of it for a year and a half. So I was on the Depo for 6 years straight, no break at all, which I feel is really bad for your body. Planned Parenthood did tell me every 5 years you should take a break and get off of it, but I didn't. But I did after 6 years. So year and a half, got off of it, right? And then I went back on birth control after the year and a half. But I got the implant instead of the Depo. The implant is the thing that they numb your arm and they slice a little inch. I think honestly it's probably even less than that, an inch in your inner arm, and then they insert the thing and then that's it. Put a band-aid over it. I got that. Okay, so that's where the downfall starts. Okay. Totally fine on the Depo for the 6 years I was on it. No issues whatsoever other than the symptoms I expected. Got off of it, went back on, decided on the implant. Shouldn't have done it, okay? So I got the implant. And then when I got the implant, I had it for literally 3 months. It's supposed to last 3 years, mind you. I was on it for 3 months. And this is why they say when you get on birth control, they always tell you, like, there's all these different options, like, let's see which one works best for you. So sometimes you have to try a whole bunch of different types. They have the IUD, there's a patch, there's the pill every single day. And obviously I went on the depot, and then I switched to the implant because I was like, oh, every 3 years, that's better, right? The implant legit made me suicidal. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Worst 3 months of my life. I was so fucking depressed, and it was just bad overall. My mental health was worse, and then my mental health deteriorating also made me not want to do anything. I was super lazy. I was irritable. I was getting mad at everybody. I'm pretty sure my acne got a little bit better, so it did help with my acne, but my mental state was just, it was bad, okay? I was fighting with my ex-boyfriend. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time. He's now my ex-boyfriend, but I was fighting with him constantly because I was just so irritable. So I was like, all right, so we're not doing this. And then I got off the implant after 3 months, okay? And then I chose the depot again. So when I went in, they were like, oh, it wasn't working for you. And I was like, no, I need this out. And then I went back on the depot because I was on it for 6 years. It worked fine. So why did I try something else, right? So that would be in 2021 of, well, no, in 2020. 2020. The end of 2020, I think, is when I got on the depot, okay? So then I think I went like 9 months with the depot, so 3 shots. And then I got off the depot in August of 2021, okay? So at this point, I'm grown. I have a sex life. I decided to get off birth control because I was on it for so long just because of my periods. And I know you're supposed to give your body a break once in a while just so that it can re-regulate. And I wasn't doing that because I was having sex. So in August of 2021, I ended up not in a relationship anymore. So I was like, okay, so we're going to get off birth control because I'm not sexually active. I don't need to worry about that. We're going to give my body a break, give myself a period or 2, and then I'll go back on eventually, okay? So that was August 2021. And then I went back on it in October of 2021. So that was 3 months without the birth control. 3 months, that's it. And then I was on it until August of 2022. So I was on it for 11 months. And it was fine. Again, depot was fine. I've had no issues with the depot. And then I went off for 4 months in August of 2022 because my boyfriend left for basic training. So I was like, okay, well, if he's going to be gone for 5 months, I might as well try and give my body a break, try and get a period, you know what I mean? And here's where my issues started. Okay, so mind you, it's August of last year. So I got off birth control, and then I waited, and I waited, and I waited. 3 months off birth control, didn't get a period. I had spotting once in a while, but it wasn't anything crazy, and I was like, where's my period? Because when I went off depot in the past, for the like year and a half I was off of it, I got my period literally a month after I got off of it, right? So it was every month on the dot. I have very regular periods. They last exactly 5 days normally, and it starts heavy the first 2 days, and then the last 3 days are light period. So I was like, okay, so I've had this experience before, right? I've gone off the depot in the past, so I know exactly how my body works. Apparently I don't know how my body works because I never got my period, okay? So again, I spotted. I had little, like, instances where I was like, oh, am I getting it? Like, is this it? And then I wouldn't get it, right? So my boyfriend comes back from basic training. And that is in December, okay? So I got on the depot. This is now December of, like, literally a month ago, okay? Like 2 months ago, right? December 21st, got back on the depot because my boyfriend was coming home. I'm gonna be safe, right? Never got the period in the 5 months at all. Not one time. And then, okay, hold on. I have notes here. Hold on. Give me a second. So I guess that's the timeline out of the way, right? That's what you needed right away. There's my timeline, all the things I've gotten, stuff like that. So, again, this is going to be a little TMI, okay? So, my boyfriend comes home. Obviously, he's been gone for 5 months. We're going to be sexually active, okay? We had sex, and then I think, like, a week later... No, it wasn't a week later. It was, I think, 2 days after. 2 or 3 days after we had sex the first time. Yeah, that's what it was. So 2 to 3 days after we had sex, I started bleeding. And I was like, okay, like, it's just been a while. Maybe my body's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, you were just, like, completely, like, celibate for 5 months, right? So, I'm losing my train of thought here. There's a lot going on in my brain. There's too much happening, and I'm trying to, like, keep it all on track so you guys don't get confused. Okay, 3 days after, start bleeding, right? And then it started to be really heavy, okay? So I'm sitting here, I think, like, 8, 9 days of a period now at this point, and I'm like, why am I still fucking bleeding? Okay? And I hadn't gotten cramps either. So it was just like, it was light, it was like spotting, and then it'd get really heavy for like 4 hours, and then I'd spot again, and I was like, that's so weird, right? And then I got these abnormally painful, excruciating cramps, okay? And I remember I told you in the beginning, I went on birth control in the first place because of my cramps. These cramps were like next fucking level, okay? Like they were, I couldn't breathe. Like I was sitting there trying to focus on breathing. I couldn't move. Like it was so bad. My friend was here for it, and they lasted quite literally like 30 minutes. And I was like, that's it? And they just completely went away. And I was like, that's fucking weird. And it was at like 8 p.m. So, I don't even want to talk about it. Okay, so 8 p.m. this all happens, right? I bring my friend home, I come home, I'm laying in bed. And then 2 a.m., okay, I go to the bathroom and I peed. Like a normal girl does, right? You pee. And then I wiped, and the scariest fucking thing came out of me, okay? I figured out what it is officially. It's a decidual cast. Now let me bring this up on Safari really quick so I can explain to you what it was. But again, me being as a woman, not having learned anything about birth control or anything like this in school, I was freaking the fuck out because it's like this like thing of tissue, full tissue, like vaginal tissue, just like came out of me. I'm not even kidding. I would put a picture on the screen, but it's kind of weird and I don't really want to. But it was literally like at least 2 inches long of just full vaginal tissue, okay? And I'm like, what the actual fuck just came out of me? So I'm sitting on the phone with my friend panicking because I'm like, did I just have a fucking miscarriage? How is that even possible? I haven't had sex, right? And I'm like, what is this? Okay? So we did some research, which again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm not going to the hospital. It's 2 a.m. I was like, I'm just gonna relax, figure it out, right? So, Google says, a decidual cast is a large intact piece of tissue that you pass through your vagina in one solid piece. It happens when the thick mucus lining of the uterus, called the decidua, sheds in the near exact shape of your uterine cavity, creating a triangular cast. So we figured out that's what it was, okay? But, like, me at 2 a.m., I'm, like, I go to pee before bed and I wipe and this, like, thing of tissue comes out of me. And everything on the internet was like, oh, you're having a miscarriage. And I was like, I'm not having a miscarriage. That's not even possible, right? So I was like, what is happening? I'm gonna assume, which, this is me assuming, okay? I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I didn't go to the doctor for it, which I probably should have, but I didn't, okay? My reasoning for this is I think because I went off of the depot, didn't get a period, and then went back on the depot, that the, like, vaginal tissue was stuck up there and it needed to come out because that's where, you know, you're bleeding, right? Like, I didn't get a period, so it was just all up there, and then the cast just came out in, like, full tissue vaginal form, okay? And it's like, what? So, I don't know if this happens to people often. The internet said it didn't happen often. So I was like, I feel like I need to talk about this on the internet and make it normalized because it was traumatizing for me. Because I'm like, like, this thing of tissue just came out of me at 2 a.m. and I have no idea what it's from. And, like, I've never heard of this ever happening to anybody. I didn't even know a decidual cast existed. And it's like, I feel like we should learn this stuff in school. Because why are we not taught about our bodies at all, okay? Like, I just don't understand. So anyway, I'm freaking out, right? Figured out it's a decidual cast. So if you ever have this situation happen to you where an entire piece of vaginal tissue comes out of you and it looks like a chunk of, like, skin, okay? It's either a decidual cast or you're having a miscarriage. So we figured that out. It was not a miscarriage. So we can check that off the list of no's. But that is my birth control story. I haven't had as many problems on birth control as a lot of people have. So maybe I didn't do a great job going into detail and explaining this to you guys, but, like, I'm trying my best. If you guys do have any other questions about birth control at all, please put them down in the comments. I can either do an entire separate video on all the questions that you guys ask me, or I can answer them in the comments. It just kind of depends on how many I get. But I also should probably clarify, I used pads for like 2 weeks and then I used tampons. I never actually said that in the beginning for my period. That's what I used tampons. But yeah, I just felt like periods aren't normalized. Well, they are, but like they're not taught, and I feel like that's not okay. And again, there's a birth control right for every person, and just because the Depo worked for me doesn't mean it'll work for you. I also do suggest getting off birth control every once in a while to give your body a break and recycle, because I feel like I've had a lot of the issues that I've had where I'm not getting a period when I went off of it, or I randomly bleed, or the decidual cast, because I wasn't giving my body the break that it needed off of birth control. Also, be careful, because I have heard rumor, which I feel like we don't even know if this is facts. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It could be facts. I could be wrong. Again, we don't know much. But I've heard that if you're on birth control for too long, that it sometimes causes you to have issues having children. And I've been on it for 10 years, and I was off for maybe a year and a half total. No, I guess 2 years total in that 10 years fully that I was on birth control. So I haven't gotten checked out to see if I can have kids or not, because I don't really want to go through that process and figure out if I can have kids or not until I'm actually trying for children, because I don't really want to have in the back of my head every single day, oh, you can't give your boyfriend children when we grow up, and decide, grow up, I say as I'm a fucking kindergartner. Anyway, I don't want, when we're older, that's what I should have said, but I don't want to sit here and think every day oh, I can't give my boyfriend children when we decide to have a family. So I'm waiting to get my vagina figured out, get my eggs figured out, get my reproductive shit figured out until we try to decide for children. So we're just gonna stay on birth control. We're gonna push. Every time he deploys, because he's in the military, I'm thinking of getting off birth control depending on how long he'd deploy for, just to give my body the break that it needs. But that is my birth control story. Again, if you guys have any questions at all about literally anything, I am 100% willing and open to explain literally anything at all. So make sure you guys comment down below any questions or any statements. If you guys feel for me and you guys also had issues or have had a decidual cast, let me know. I also left out decidual cast. I saw a TikTok 3 days ago about some girl that got one, and I was like, okay, so this is a thing. And then everyone in the comments was like, oh, we've had one too, and I was like, what? So apparently it's not just a me thing, but I swear to you, I've never seen anything about it, never heard anything about it, didn't even know it existed. And then it happens to me, and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, it's on, or 3 weeks after, it's on TikTok. TikTok listens, I swear. Anyway, I hope you guys like this podcast style video. If you guys do, make sure you guys let me know, because I'll 100% do more videos of me just chilling. But I'll get a microphone. We'll make it official, alright? So on that note, if you guys are new, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and then click the bell so you're notified every time I upload. Also, make sure you guys go follow me on all of my socials. I post on TikTok every single day, so you guys can see me over there on a daily basis. And on that note, I will see you guys in my next video. Love you. We did that shit, y'all. We did that shit.